Kirk Cousins, Michael Lombardi talked about earlier, he's playing phenomenal football, and the Vikings are losing. They were 11-0 last year in one-score games. This year they're 0-3 already, 3 games in one-score games. Complete opposite. As they say, easy come, easy go. Water finds its level. Kirk's playing well. Kirk chatted after the Chargers game, and somebody needs to check on Kirk Cousins. Here's him after the Chargers game.
How hard is it to watch tape when you know the result from last week, especially those last 2 possessions? How hard is it to sit down and go through that?
Man, I said to Alec when we did an interview this August, I hope my boys find something they're as passionate about it as I am about football, but I hope it doesn't torment them the way football torments me. I mean, I'm crawling in my skin driving home from the stadium on Sunday, in the last 2 days. So you got to get back up on the horse on Wednesday morning and come back to work. But golly, you're sitting there in meetings and you're just frustrated, and that's part of it because it matters to you and it should hurt. But I'm always reminded, in March, April, when you're saying we're going to go another time around the horn, you're signing up for some frustrations here and there and some moments that you wish you could have back. So that's where we are right now, and I'm thankful that we've been as explosive as an offense as we have been. There's a lot to build on, but got to put it all together. 4 quarters, all phases of football. Red zone, third down, short yardage, first, second down, run game, pass game. That's no easy task.
Talking about the game tormenting you, just how much better have you gotten at being able to move on and let that go by come Wednesday?
You have to ask my wife. She'd probably be able to tell you if I'm getting better. I'm trying, but I think it goes both ways, right? On one hand, you're further along in your football career, so you feel like you're getting better at it. On the other hand, you're further along in your football career, so you realize you're running out of time. And I think it's both sides of that. I think when you're younger, you maybe are a little more willing to shrug your shoulders and know there's more games up ahead. And I think when you're older, you're like, it's now. It's got to be now. And I was saying that last year, too. Like, the Adam Thielens won't be here forever. Let's do it now. And so you feel that, too. But this league will beat you up. It'll test you. And it takes grit, takes toughness, and that's another trait I want to see in my boys. So I gotta model it for them, on a daily, weekly basis.
I love what he said there. Sounds like an old ass man. I got a chance to go to the Super Bowl my rookie year with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was a literal dipshit that didn't even know how to do my job. So I didn't even know how to punt. Like, a ball would go good, sweet. I don't know why that happened. A ball would go bad. I have no idea why that happened. Kind of an easy life when you don't know, but also potentially stressful. We get to the Super Bowl my rookie year. We lose. I go, boys, let's run this thing back. Yeah. Let's run this thing back next year.
Don't worry.
2 years later, we're almost completely defeated. Okay? And then we have new coach, new GM, new everything. Make it back to the AFC Championship game, and then we're chasing that for the rest of the time. So it's like, I think as you get older, you realize, like, hey, we got a team that can do this. This is a team that can do this. We need to do this because who knows what's going to happen literally next year. In this particular case, Kirk Cousins might not be with the Vikings next year. We have no idea what the Vikings look like going forward. What are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins, and do you think the Vikings are going to be able to right the ship, AJ Hawk?
I mean, we will see. I mean, Kirk, that's what's crazy. Putting up great numbers, looks like he's playing well. They have no wins right now, and all that press conference just reinforced to me that no matter how much you're getting paid, it sucks to lose. Like, it's no fun. And I understand. I'm not saying you got to feel bad for players making millions of dollars, losing games, but it does. Like, wherever you are, no matter what the situation's like around you, if you're losing, nobody's happy and nobody's having fun.
I think he's got a beautiful fire pit.
Yeah, he
does. I saw that on a quarterback.
Yes, he does.
Nice fire, Coop.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good fire, Coop.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great house, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Great
Wonderful.
house.
Nice beach house.
Great family. Everything's. But you lose the game. Oh, buddy. You take over.
Yeah, remember the 24-hour rule?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, 24 after a win, you're in the locker room, AJ. Hey, 24 hours, boom, easy, right? But it doesn't apply after a loss.
Real life.
Or 2 loss or 3 loss. I mean, it's till that next Sunday, that next Monday, that next Thursday, and you have a chance to
They're talking about Kirk maybe being traded. What do you think about that?
Well, that's the thing. You were saying, hey, next year, shit might be next week for him. Sure. So you got to relish.
You think Vikings are looking into that?
I don't know.
Pending Sunday.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, depending on how things start to go. And then, like, Kevin O'Connell, is it?
Yeah, KOC.
Yeah. So they won how many games last year?
13. Yep.
13, right? The year before he got there, how many was Zim? And Zim did a great
I think
job.
it was 7
right?
and 9.
So,
yeah.
so going from 7 to 9 or 10,
we might be wrong. It might be
or
5.
3 to 8, 3 to 9s, but now to improve on 13, like impossible. Now they start 0-3.
Yeah.
To your point about the 11-0 in one-score games, now they're 0-3 in one-score games. That's just how this game is. Because now everybody's got a book on you. They know you as a head coach. They know you as a play caller. They got a new defense coordinator. So, yeah, anything's possible in National Football League. He could be gone in 2 weeks.
They're going to pay legit. Anything is possible. I saw Peyton Manning get cut. But, yeah, I mean, Kirk could get traded. And the Jets allegedly would be the team that would want to do it. And Shefty said, let's just wait a couple more weeks to see how this whole thing pans out. It's like, well, if the Jets lose a couple more,
right.
When is it worth it? When's it not worth it? And what if he goes there and does well? What happens for next year's deal? Is he just a free agent? He got a chance to take a test drive with the New York Jets football team for the rest of the year. Is he going to be able to learn the new offense just in the middle of the season with enough time to kind of take over there? And is the offensive line good enough for Kirk Cousins not to die? I mean, I just don't see all that, but I do question the mentality of we're going to pay Justin Jefferson $30-40 million a year.
Yep.
Have to.
And then you're just going to assume you're going to be able to get a quarterback that's going to be able to get him the ball? Because you paid Devontae Adams that massive deal.
Yeah.
Right? Massive deal. And then they didn't even have a quarterback there for a bit.
No.
And then they bring in Jimmy G, and last year goes how it goes or whatever. This year it seems like it's going better for Devontae, but it's like unless you're sure you're going to have a guy that can get the ball to the wide receiver, that's a wild move. I guess they just assume you could draft a guy, somebody cheaper, because you're going to have to pay Justin Jefferson. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, and then when you start looking at this season, it's like, oh, okay, if things don't go well, like maybe we will be in that that market to have a top 10 pick, and we'll be able to pick one of these guys who's supposed to be up there. But we talked about like Kyler. You could see that as a situation potentially. Like if Arizona's up there and they're looking at something, it's like, who knows? Because I mean, even look at Devontae. Like, yeah, he's putting up numbers and he's playing well, but he's saying in his post game press conferences like, hey, I'm not a loser. Like I'm not here to it's awesome catching 7 balls for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, but like I want to win games, and they're already talking about him wanting to be traded. So it's like you're staring down that barrel with Jefferson potentially. Like that's not a good situation either.
Oh, and Addison's right. He's going to be up in 3 years too, and he's off to a great start. But with Kirk, it's like, hey, if we go, let's say they win this weekend and the Jets get killed, and then the Vikings have to decide, like, all right, we're 1-3. We're probably in an area with Kirk where we're going to win 7 games. We're going to win 6 games. We're not going to be in that top 5 where you kind of want to. Now, granted, right now the quarterback draft class is absurdly good.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And that's right now. Who knows where it is
paper.
by the time we actually get to the draft and who actually leaves. But if you're Minnesota, you're not going to get a top 10 pick with Kirk. Like, you're going to be in that terrible 7-10 range where you're going to win enough games with him, but you're never going to win the Super Bowl.
Could make a trade. I don't know their picks, what they have, how they have to do it, but it's like everybody's just assuming Kirk's gone from Minnesota. Trade him to the Jets. It's like, do they want to do that? Are you just going to want to potentially put Justin Jefferson in the fate of some unknown potentially? I don't.
Not just him. I mean, there's 50, 60 other guys in that locker room. They know if you trade Kirk, it's the same way like that's going on in New York. Like the locker room knows if you get rid of Kirk, like you're punting on the season, and you don't give a shit about any of them.
It's crazy we're talking about this about Kirk, by the way.
Yeah.
Because normally this would all be Kirk's fault.
Yeah, for sure.
The 0-3 would be
not.
Kirk's fault. Even if it wasn't,
Sure.
it would be said that it's Kirk's fault. Very different narrative about old Kirk Cousins right now. Good for you, Kirk.
Yeah, attaboy, Kirk.
I know it's miserable because you're losing and you're the quarterback, it's still a thing, but it's not just directly on Kirk's shoulders publicly, which I think he's probably appreciative of.
But he's always been good in the regular season.
Well, that's not what people said, though.
No.
It didn't matter. Primetime games,
just
regular
the
season
primetime.
guy stinks.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. AJ just hung
We
up.
just lost AJ Hawk.
He said that.
He said, I
But
would
why-
like to bury Kirk.
Yeah.
So why, if like you bring up the Jets, why would the Jets go trade for him, knowing that they got Aaron coming back next year?
Well,
Or
that's
why-
not even being talked about.
Why don't they, if they're also, in the situation where, hey, we can get Kirk and we could, maybe go to the playoffs, why wouldn't the Jets just do the same thing? Like, hey, screw this. Let's just suck. And obviously we don't have the quarterback of the future. Like, we can still, get a good pick and then take somebody that then gets to, go a year, 2 years under Aaron's belt and do the Jordan Love and the Packers thing.
That makes more sense than you're not going to go trade for Kirk Cousins. How do you? Because they screwed this up last spring. They got Aaron. They knew what they had in Zach, whether the old line, whatever, right?
True.
but why don't you just move on and get a legitimate
Where would you
backup?
send Zach? Is Zach dead? Is Zach done?
Yeah.
Is Zach never going to work?
Yeah, so like Lombo's point, like if they got to, that's why, Saleh doesn't want to do that right now, because if they do it, it's over. And it's like, what are you going to do with him? Cut it? You got to cut him. You can't have him hanging around the locker room as your number 3. Can you imagine that poor kid?
Yeah, they
And
sent
he's like,
him home last
And he's
year.
like, you got to be confident.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you got to feel good
Send him to
about
San
yourself. You
Francisco.
got to be confident. Well, what the fuck should I look at that's making
Oh,
you
Chuck. So close.
Yeah,
How old are you,
close.
Chuck? How old are you, Chuck?
Jeez.
How old are you, Chuck?
I'm sorry.
How old are you?
I'm old enough.
No, but how old are you? What
I'll
is
be 63 next Tuesday
Happy birthday.
Let's go.
Happy birthday, Chuck.
or Monday. What's next Monday?
I don't know. I just went to Old White's. That's one of you.
Yeah.
I said that, not me. You know what I mean? I just want to let them know that's a 63-year-old
That's awful. I
paisano.
apologize.
No, I appreciate the
apologize,
passion.
Yeah,
guys.
a lot of passion.
We appreciate the passion because it's real, though. Like the Zach Wilson situation last year was uncomfortable to watch publicly, let alone this year. For another year, it happening.
Going through everything he's been through, the Mike White T-shirt, all that, and then you come back and you're trying to instill all this confidence. I mean, something good's got to happen to make you feel good about yourself, and there hasn't been anything for that poor kid.